Welcome to More Fanime. I'm your fan of more anime. And guess what? I did it. I took the plunge into Jujutsu Kaisen. I've been told to for the last year to watch Jujutsu Kaisen. It's the next big thing. It's the successor to the Naruto franchise in a way. These are the things that have been told to me. I have never seen anything Jujutsu Kaisen. I went into this movie, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, or I think. I just saw this movie, Jujutsu Kaisen 0, and it was good. It was a good movie. I've never watched the anime. I've never read the manga. Pretty sure this is canon, and this is like a prequel to the actual anime proper. And I saw that it was coming out to theaters in my town, and I decided, why not go check it out? If there's ever a time to start watching a new anime or to read one, why not start with a prequel that came out later? It's like starting the Star Wars movies with episode 1 instead of episode 4. Which is kind of interesting, because I've always wondered the perspective of people who watched episode 1 first. Like, how do they look? They might look at it differently. And I might look at Jujutsu Kaisen differently since I started with 0. Possibly. I'm not sure. I really know very little about this franchise. I couldn't have told... If you had quizzed me on anything about this show before I went and saw this movie today, I couldn't have told... I would have gotten everything wrong. The only thing I've ever seen was the main teacher guy that has his eyes wrapped up. I've seen images of him before, and that's it. This is a crazy world, this Jujutsu Kaisen, and honestly, if I was going to try and put my finger on what it made me think of from anime that I have watched, it kind of, or mangas I've read, animes I've watched, it did give me the Naruto vibes, but it also gave me the Bleach vibes as well. It's almost like a amalgamation or a combination of those two animes, and kind of gave me it also had its own flavor, of course, its own stank, if you will. Jujutsu Kaisen had its own smell, and it had a lot of cool characters, and I have a feeling I'm not even scratching the surface on the characters in it, unless it's really hyper focused on a small class, because in this movie they mentioned that this is just first year students. So I mean, I don't know how much of a prequel this is. Like, does the anime pick up right where this movie left off? Or does it pick up years later? Do these students that we watch in this movie even make major appearances in the actual anime? I know the dude with the eye wraps is a main character in the actual anime, but I'm not 100% sure on the other characters just yet, because I haven't checked it out yet. I've always been planning on watching the Jujutsu Kaisen anime, and why not start with this movie, is what I'm trying to say. But I've been very busy, devouring all of One Piece and My Hero Academia this last year, that it's hard to fit anything else in. I've even started Bleach, so it's hard to watch all these things at once, but I enjoy Jujutsu Kaisen. I like it, and I hear there's not a lot of filler in it, which is nice, so when I do enter the anime proper, I won't have to consume so much or avoid certain things because it's not canon. So that's exciting. I definitely want to continue this journey. Once I got to the end of the movie, I felt like, wow, that was good. I want more. And then I was like, oh yeah, there's a whole anime after this. So that's kind of cool if you think about it. You're like, yeah, I'm done with this. I want more. Give me more. I want to know more about these characters. I want to know more about this world that has been created. And speaking of this world, the main character of this movie is Yuta Okkotsu. Yuta. This fella was bullied in school and whatnot. At least that's how it showed in the beginning of the movie. But he has been cursed. And this whole world of Jujutsu Kaisen is about like sorcerers and curses. And they use curses to fight other curses. The only way to destroy a curse is with a counter curse, is what I got from it. If I'm wrong, it's because I only watched this movie one time. But I was kind of easy to pick that part up. This kid accidentally killed people with this curse that's attached to him from a childhood girlfriend who said that they were going to be married. Turns out he didn't realize. I'm just going to give you a spoiler. If you don't know it, please click away now. Like, if you don't know anything, unless you don't care about being spoiled, this kid actually has some like ancestry about him. Like, he's got some sorcerer blood in him or some shit. Like, he's related to somebody important. So he's an OPMC. He's OP as shit. He just doesn't know how to control his powers yet. But God help us, he will at the end of the movie, sorta. He's very weak at the beginning, and he actually just wants to die. They like sentence him to execution because of the curse that's attached to him is so powerful. And they even like go through this grading system where they grade these curses. What I really liked about the curses is they are all very unique looking, at least in this movie. I'm not sure if that translates over to the anime, but they're all very unique. Every curse had a different look to them, at least the higher graded curses. There are apparently like 16 or 14 special curses. I can't remember what they were calling it. But Yuta has one of those super curses attached to him, special grade curses. And that's pretty high. That's like the highest you can get. And that's pretty dope. So this kid is attached to this crazy curse. And that's his power. But he wants to die because he doesn't know how to control it and he's hurting people. And that is not cool with him. He's a good kid. He actually thinks that the girl that loved him, cursed him. I might have just repeated myself, but he actually cursed her, not knowing that he has the blood of a famous sorcerer. So we meet him. He wants to die. The dude with the wraps around his eyes, Gojo, Satoru finds him and tells him, hey man, you can get murdered here, you can get killed or executed, or you can come to Jujutsu Kaisen Academy and become a sorcerer man and save people and redeem yourself from being, shitty. Even though he's a good kid, he really had no control of this demon or his abilities. He knew nothing about them. The kid is convinced that he will do this. He joins the first-year students, which include Togi Inumaki. This guy was pretty cool. This guy he only speaks in like rice ball ingredients when he's not fighting. But when he fights, he uses like a powerful voice curse. Speech technique, a powerful cursed speech to kill things. Like, he can look at another curse and say die, and they'll literally die. Or he'll say twist, and they'll like twist. He's pretty powerful. Like, this dude was much more. I thought he wasn't going to be as important as he was. I'm trying to think of a character he reminds me of, but his ability takes a lot out of him. Like, he coughs up blood at one point during this movie when he's fighting. All of them are physically adept as well. Like, they can handle some hand-to-hand combat, but he's got that OP ability of the cursed speech, but it comes with a lot of back blow if he does it too much. There's this really cool part where this kid's fighting a pretty strong curse, but he already used his voice to kill like 1,000 little curses earlier. So he was too weak and he needed his throat medicine. So the main character, who is still learning, dives in and uses his abilities sparingly because he's still trying to control his evil monster curse crush lady who loves him. Loves him so much, and they will be together forever and ever. That was pretty scary, by the way. But the kid slides in, grabs the dude's throat medicine, throws it Mid-air, Inomaki grabs it, drinks the throat medicine, and then shouts at this creature, smashing it, winning the day. It was pretty cool. The action in this movie was top tier, for sure. Some of the best anime movie action I've seen in a long time. Like, it was good. There was probably 50% of this entire movie, which was like an hour and 45 minutes, was pure action. And a lot of decent story, honestly. Like, it didn't take me long to figure what was going on. At least the basics of it. Another student that's part of the main crew is named Panda, and is technically not a panda, but close enough, I guess. Because I don't think he's an actual panda. There was a part where they had mentioned him being like a desecrated body or something. He's some kind of cursed something, but he basically is a walking around panda, and they just call him Panda, and he's badass. He's one of my favorite characters for sure. I hope he's a main person in the main anime as well, because his ability, he could transform into a crazy buff, super fast panda. He's tough as nails, kicks ass, takes names. He actually went head to head with the main villain and actually did pretty well, even though he isn't the MC, and I appreciate that. I appreciate that the MC has a lot of learning to do, and kind of the side characters, his supporting cast, have a lot to do to protect him while he's still learning, and I think that's cool. I'm not sure how advanced the main character might be in the regular anime. I don't even know if he's the main character in the regular anime. I do not know if we follow this class in the regular anime. This could be like 30 years before the main anime begins, for all I know. Maki is also a member of his class. She's the only female member. She's she's like the disgrace of her family or some shiz. Like, her esteemed family. It's like aristocrats of like fucking Jujutsu users, Kaisen users, I don't know. But she's like kind of weak or something, or they don't like her because she can't see curses. So she has to wear the special glasses to see curses. I didn't really understand that so much. I guess I'll know it more later on. I don't know. They were throwing a lot at me, is what I'm saying. But Satori Gojo ends up being their classroom teacher. He reminds me a lot of Kakashi from Naruto, like highly influenced this character's design and fighting. I think like he was badass as well. He was awesome. I think he was cool. I am curious to why he always covers up his blue eyes. He has some magical sorcerer blue eyes. When I first saw his eyes, I was like, okay, so he's the blue eyes white dragon version of Kakashi. That's my interpretation of this guy. He's a very good sensei to the characters in this. He's actually really funny. He does a lot of funny gags. I wouldn't have minded if he was the main character of the story, to be honest. He was full of personality, and he was also OP as shiz. He can basically fire energy attacks. At least from what I saw in this movie, he can gather cursed energy and blast it like a Kai blast from Dragon Ball. He's really adept at hand-to-hand combat. Like this, I don't know the limits of his ability at all, but he is highly important, at least in this movie, to these kids because he is teaching them the ways of being exorcists. Basically, I would say these guys are more exorcists than sorcerers. But they're in the academy together, I was like, oh boy, another academy, because, I just finished, I love My Hero Academia, but I just finished My Hero Academia, so I was like, oh no, another academy story, but it did not feel similar in any way, shape, or form. This was I wouldn't compare this to My Hero Academia as much as I would compare it to Bleach. Like these creatures, the curses almost remind me of hollows, but then there's more dangerous opponents and other curse users That's another thing. The big part about this movie, the big villains, the antagonists, are led by a former student of Jujutsu Kaisen Academy, Geto Sugaru. I'm not even sure if this guy's even alive anymore in the anime proper. This guy might even just be a movie villain made for this movie, for all I know. But he was cool. He kind of had this Madara vibe to him. He's like, I am above all. He was very powerful. He can steal curses. I'm not sure if everybody can learn every ability, or they kind of master one, or they're like at birth given an ability. But this guy was able to like steal a curse off of some lady. He was gathering thousands of curses to unleash at once, or to combine and use as power for himself. Like, this guy was pretty tough, and he actually has a history with Gojo Satoru. They're like best friends. They're like Kakashi and Might Guy, except Might Guy turned into a villain, and he's actually super talented. And he wants to take the curse off of Yuta Okkotsu, the girlfriend that is cursed him, or he cursed her to be attached to him, and to basically be his like curse slave. But also she's very protective of him, and it takes him a while to get the guts to be in command. But he wants that because it's a special grade curse, and there's not that many of them. And he's already has one, and if he had 2 special grade curses, he could probably fuck some shit up, is what I got from this. But he has to kill Yuta or get him to join him, and Yuta's like, no, this is my family, dog. I'm not turning sides. These are my friends. I know we just met. I'm not sure how much time passed. It didn't feel like they had been a class for a while. I guess he did a couple things actually with them individually, so he did bond with them before he called them his friends. So I guess I am quick to jump onto that bus. I do get luckily this movie didn't end with the final battle being won because of the power of friendship. It was kind of the power of love between him and his childhood crush girlfriend thing. And it was like just how powerful their love is what gave him made his curse so powerful, is what I got from it. He can create curses, which is pretty wild. I guess that's what sorcerers do in this universe. They create curses, and he turned his childhood, future wife into a mega curse. I'm assuming because of the love she gave him. That's my guess. And that's why at the end of this movie, spoilers, he's able to like harness all of her power by telling her like, if you give me everything, I will die for you and be with you forever and ever. And then they shoot a mega fucking blast of death, hyper beam if you're a Pokemon fan, and win the day with one attack. I was kind of disappointed at the fact that he won after that. It was basically like, ex machina shit. Like, oh, okay, I just had to pull this pin and I'd win. But he did have a really good brawl with the main villain before that happened. I'm actually getting a little ahead of myself. The main villain does end up challenging the academy that he hates because they treat humans, they protect humans, basically, is what I got from it. And he wants all humans that do not have a connection with curses, all humans who cannot create curses or control curses. He wants them all destroyed, basically, and he only basically wants to make a world of superior sorcerers. Everybody else is a monkey to him, and they're just stepping stones towards a perfect world. He is like a Hitler type character. He wants to erase the bad blood, and have a pure race of powerful people who can basically protect themselves from curses. I feel like there's a deeper backstory to this guy, Suguru Geto. I think maybe we'll learn more about him going forward. Maybe he is dead, because it seemed like he was pretty dead at the end of this movie, but maybe he's a driving force This is my guess. For Satoru Gojo, he was his best friend, and if he's the one that had to kill him in the very end, because I think he's the one who he's like, finish me, and he does. So he's got to he's got that burden on his back, is what I'm saying. He lost his friend, and maybe he has flashbacks of him and his friend in school back in the Dizay. This is all I'm saying. There's a really cool team up between our main character Yuta and Mika at the beginning of the movie, where they take on a giant curse for the first time. And there's a cool team up where I already kind of touched on it with Inumaki, where they become friends. Inumaki was the star of this show. He just kept talking in rice ball fucking quotes, or rice ball ingredients. I thought that was the funniest shit. That gag did not get old. He just kept being on salmon, or I can't remember the other ingredients, but a lot of the time he would say salmon in different tones of voice. And I thought that was hilarious. The panda was really cool. Like I said, I'm not sure. His personality was actually really cool. He almost came off like the pervert of the show, but he only acted perverted once when he talked about boobs. But I'm curious to know more about the panda. I mean, he's a badass. He protects his friends. All of them go balls out against the main villain at the end. I don't feel like the side characters got shafted at the very end of the movie. I felt like they all got a lot of time to shine, almost, except for Micah. I feel like a lot of her fight stuff kind of got skipped over, but she's still learning as well. She's not as strong as you might say. You might think. She's good at hand-to-hand, but she wasn't able yet, at least, to compare with the main villain. The main villain, I think I forgot to mention, leads a class of his own, a team of his own sorcerers that he's been training. And they're like the Cobra Kai of Jujutsu Kaisen users, curse users. And they came in, and one of them fought Gojo, and he showed us his blue eyes for the first time and his crazy sorcerer power blasts, and he kicked ass and take names, and he had a plan of plans. He was doing crazy movements. The choreography in the fights was spot on. This shit got me hyped when they were actually in depth in the fights proper. I really enjoyed that. There was a lot of side fights that was happening as well around Tokyo and whatnot, with different characters that seemed important, but there was no way I was going to keep track of them. There was a girl that had blonde hair that was riding on her witch broom, and I was like, it's Kiki's Delivery Service. I hope she's important. Yeah, I like that. I like that aesthetic, the witch with the broom. I think that was cool. Panda and Toge Inumaki team up in a cool 2-on-1 against the main villain, which I thought they might even win. That's how well it was put together. But obviously our main character has to be the one to take him out. I kind of already touched on this. He had to learn how to control his demon lady that lives on attached to him. I am confused because I think another character I've seen in pictures for this show has pink hair, and he looks like the main character of the show. But the character I seen in this movie, Yuta Okkotsu, Yuta didn't have pink hair. He did have pink energy blasts. I was almost expecting his hair to turn pink, at some point, maybe his version of his Super Saiyan form or some shit. His cursed form. But he ends up telling the curse that's attached to him, I will let you kill me and take me with you to the underworld, or wherever the fuck the other afterlife will be together, if you give me all your power. And she opens her eye. This movie was pretty fucking frightening at parts. The creature designs were so unique and so gruesomely monstrous. Some of them were scary as fuck, and they were attached to people. One of them was humping a lady and gave her the same symptoms as anxiety, which got me personally. I was ooh, that sucks. I need to get curses removed off of my body. That shit's nutso butso, man. There was some stuff about a veil that they walk into and they have to remove the curses. That kind of went over my head, but there was a lot of good shit here. I can see why people love Jujutsu Kaisen so much. And I do plan to continue the series proper. I'm not sure if I'm going to do it immediately, just because I am in the middle of One Piece, and I am in the middle of Bleach, and I am... there's something else I'm doing too. I'm keeping track of My Hero Academia and whatnot as well. I feel like I might need to finish Bleach or One Piece first before I can truly devote the time and effort into reviewing the Jujutsu Kaisen anime / manga properly, give it its just desserts. Otherwise, I'm just going to be comparing it to other things that I'm reading or watching, and I don't think that's fair. I think I need to give it 100% of me when I get into it. And right now, I'm riding that One Piece bus, which is very comfortable, and it's very good, and I love it oh so much. And I hope you guys love One Piece, because it's fucking amazing. But I can see me getting really deep into Jujutsu Kaisen lore once I do, because it does give me those Naruto vibes, and I love Naruto, so I'm down. I'm diggity down. And like I said, it almost kind of gives me more Bleach vibes, because these curses remind me of hollows, but way more unique, because they look more unique. They're all different. None are alike, really, at least in this movie. This is more Fanime. What do you think of Jujutsu Kaisen? What do you think of this review? If you haven't seen the movie, I hope you didn't listen to this whole thing, because I just spoiled the fuck out of it. Or maybe you read this part of the book, since it's a prequel, and maybe this is actually in the manga for all I fucking know. I enjoyed it. I really did. I love, if this is canon, if this movie is canon, I love when anime properties do their movies out of canon material, or they use canon characters as main characters, so then they get some character development, or canon villains. So I like that. I like that this is possibly deeply attached to the anime. I like that when I finally do take the deep dive into this series, I'm going to have a little bit of knowledge going in, not necessarily spoilers, but more setup. So now when I go in, I understand the world, I understand the way they fight, I understand a few things. I also know there's probably going to be more fighting styles, more abilities that I haven't got to see yet. This was probably just like 4 or 5 characters that are deeply tied in the anime, but I bet there's a lot of more side characters that I'm going to like. I can't tell you if I have a favorite character yet. I like the dude that speaks in rice ball ingredients. I like the panda. I liked all the characters, to be honest. I did not like Blue Eyes Kakashi's gray eyelashes. That shit was throwing me off. I was like, put your bandages back on, man. I don't know. His eyes were something. He was a beautiful man, to say the least. And I see why he bandages his eyes up. I'm not sure if his eyes, there must be a limitation to how long he can keep them out. There's got to be a weakness to this guy, because he seemed pretty strong. But he also seemed pretty legendary to a lot of the people that was fighting him. Like, they were like, ooh, he's the guy with the infinite eyeball powers. Like, ooh, shit. I hope that there's not a lot of eyeball abilities, because I spent a long time in the Naruto world, and there was a lot of eyeball powers there, brother. This is more Fanime. If this is your first time listening, please give me a comment, give me a like, give me a subscribe. I'm on my way to 1,000 subscribers. I hope you enjoyed my perspective, my blind, virgin perspective of Jujutsu Kaisen, at least this movie, this world that I got to experience in theaters. And maybe down the line, I'm going to be diving into this anime, and I'm going to be like, man, I'm so excited I got to see the movie properly in theaters back in the Disney when it came out for realsies. And now I'm highly invested. I'll talk to you later.